1 in 5 suffer.
Erase the stigma.
Brain difference is not a crime.
Mental health isn't just your problem.
It's our problem.
And now, Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
Welcome to Mental Health Mondays. Wow, that was synchronicity. Wow.
You see how that works out?
That was pretty good.
If you would only just let me lead, we would never have these problems.
Well, I mean, we got there same time. Anyway,
I'm Marla.
And I'm Dave, and we are the host of your show. And today's show is, it's going to be a good one, you guys. We are blessed to have experts in the field of mental health, but I think today we have actually reached for a shining star, and we are blessed to have the CEO of NAMI California, Miss Jessica Cruz, on the show. She's with us, and we want to remind you guys that NAMI experts, both those paid with paid positions and the volunteers who make up the organization, provide an environment showing the unity in the community and collaboration for a common cause, and that cause is mental health. Like most of us who have a passion for erasing the stigma surrounding mental health, Jessica has been touched personally by the struggles of dealing with a family member and their mental health issues. When we come back, our guest today, we are honored to have Ms. Jessica Cruz, CEO of NAMI California. Do not move. It's going to be a great show.
Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
All right,
Okay.
welcome back. I want to always remind everybody that, a lot of people honestly kind of dread Monday. We look forward to it. Monday is a day that we get a chance to join our voices together and actually really focus on the cause that is, again, we remind that when it comes to mental wellness, it's not anyone else's problem. It's our issue to deal with collectively. So
absolutely. And we can have no better guest or authority on this topic than Jessica Cruz. Welcome to Mental Health Mondays.
I'm glad that she's entertained by us. I love it.
I am. I love it.
So let's jump right in. Tell us about, first of all, how you became affiliated with NAMI. And then we know that you had a family member, your mom, I do believe, that you helped kind of deal with this whole, and like Marla said, when it comes to families, members that have a mental health struggle, the whole family has to learn how to deal with that.
Yeah. And I think like so many of us, we all didn't get to NAMI the way we wanted to, right?
Right.
So it kind of serendipitously happened to me. I was entering back into the workforce after having my daughter, spending some time with her, and this position showed up to be a deputy director for an organization called NAMI California. And I had no idea really how deep NAMI went. I had never heard of it. But in my interview, I ended up crying because my mom was hospitalized on a 5150.
Wow.
And she actually was
during that specific time period?
At that time, the exact time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And so I had no clue. And of course I thought, there's no way I'm getting this job. I'm crying in this interview, right? And so luckily for me, they took a chance on me. And about 6 months later, there was some leadership change, and the board put their trust in me and promoted me to the executive director at the time. And that was 10 years ago.
Wow. So first of all, before we jump into the story specifically with your mom, it's shocking that would happen at the exact same time as your
word, serendipitous.
Exactly. But NAMI is such a massive organization. It's probably the largest mental health organization
yes.
and community and collection of services and programs on mental health in the United States. So what is the mechanism that you use to help keep all that together? First of all, California, the largest state in the union, much less than cooperating with other NAMI chapters, other state chapters that break down to the local chapters. How do you maintain the efficiency of bringing those services to the community?
We are a national organization, and there's over 600 affiliates throughout, about 45 state affiliates. And you're absolutely right. California is the largest, not only the largest state in the nation, but we are the largest NAMI in the nation. And within NAMI California, we have about 58 local affiliates. And our structure is very unique in that we all work independently but together. And really keeping, as you were saying, bringing everything together, it's the passion that drives all of us. And so really that's what leads the agency. It's what continues to provide me the motivation that I need when things get hard, because as you know, this is a hard topic.
Absolutely.
This is not something that is easy. But because of the family that we have at NAMI, it makes it so that it's not as difficult, and it really does kind of fuel that fire to keep us all going.
And I want to jump in right here and just say this and reiterate something that you just said that's super important. It's not an easy topic. I need to really, it's not an easy topic. It's not an easy issue. It's not an easy journey, and it's continuous. And I think that it wasn't until our introduction to the education through NAMI that we really truly understood that. So I always want to throw that out there, because I think that, naturally we're all, when we're suffering and we have loved ones that are going through, we're looking for a fix. We're looking for a solution means a conclusion. And this is something that really, you have to manage, and it's the stigma makes it very, very, very hard, because so I just want to, piggyback on that. But back to you, Jessica.
Well,
I
go
can
ahead.
jump in on that and just say,
Yes.
we talk about mental illness as being like a chronic illness, right? Something that you have to continuously throughout your whole life manage it, and that at times it's up and at times it's fine. It's similar to any other kind of chronic illness that somebody deals with on a physical level, right? They take their medications, they make sure they're taking care of their physical well-being, whether it's nutrition or exercise. It's very similar, and we don't talk about it in that way.
That's true.
That's true. We talk about it like it's an indictment, or it's a malady that makes you so outside of the fringe of norm, or just expectation is the better word. I think that, we are willing to deal with certain maladies and accept them. But when it comes to mental health, it's almost like, whoa, so you're right about that for sure.
Well, let's turn the corner and talk about, as you drop that bomb right up front about being at the interview for the deputy director position, at the same time finding out that your mom was being held on a 5150. And for those of you who don't know what a 5150 is, it's the ability of law enforcement and the medical community to be able to hold you against your will involuntarily for, I guess, up to
70.
Is it?
It's 72 hours.
72 hours. I was going to say 3 days, but yeah. So so when we come back, we want you to actually sort of bring us into that scene, so to speak, and tell us how you actually dealt with that, and to remind us, or to tell us a story about, did your mom have a pre-existing condition that you knew about that you were dealing with, or was this just out of the blue? Our guest is Jessica Cruz. She is the CEO of NAMI California. Man, we are honored to have her as a guest. We'll be right back.
When Dave and Marla get together, it's hot.
You may not realize it, but these words, often used to describe someone with a mental health condition, can be very harmful. In a country where 1 in 5 people are affected by a mental health condition, it's time for all of us to step up and change the conversation. Just because someone's struggle isn't obvious on the outside doesn't mean they aren't hurting on the inside. We need to see the person, not the condition. Join with me, pledge to be stigma-free.
It's time for the Mental Health Minute with Marla and Dave.
Last week we told you that we were going to focus on ways to improve your mental health or your overall psychological well-being, and we gave you 5 tips. Here are some additional activities that can help.
First, deep breathing exercises. Relaxation involving deep breathing exercises can lower your heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing rate. This subsequently allows your body and mind to recharge. So always remember to eat a good breakfast. A lack of nutrition can lead to fogginess in brain function. Psychology Today notes the importance of a daily diet of foods high in omega-3 fatty acids. These and other foods have been shown to reduce symptoms of schizophrenia, depression, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and other mental disorders. Eating a good breakfast is a good idea.
And we cannot forget pet therapy. Pet a dog. Therapy dogs have become a common method for improving the state of your emotions. Dogs provide emotional support by providing companionship to individuals. Simply petting a dog every day can improve one's mental health. I would also suggest that you get a dog with nice fluffy hair, so you might feel better. Yoga is also a fantastic tool for reducing anxiety and depression, according to Harvard Health. By reducing perceived stress and anxiety, yoga appears to modulate stress response systems. Although some forms of yoga may be too strenuous for some yoga in general, but other yogas in general offer great mental health and physical wellness benefits.
All right, so remember we reminded you this last week to keep a mental wellness journal and start tracking your daily improvements as you add these behaviors to your everyday life and see how much it helps you.
This Mental Health Minute was brought to you by Mental Health Mondays in partnership with NAMI San Fernando Valley and Love and Beyond Reason.
David is a thinker.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together,
It's like a match dancing with a firecracker.
Okay, Dave went out in the last, before we went to the break, he was explaining, which I think was a really good thing, what exactly a 5150 hold is, because we throw a lot of terminology out for those of us who are in the world of dealing with mental health challenges with ourselves and our loved ones that many don't really even understand. It's like, what? Right. So as we we were talking to Jessica, and she was going to tell us a little bit about her experience with her mom and when she obviously was in an episode. She became episodic.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting because as a daughter of somebody who is living with a mental health condition, growing up, I didn't know any different, right? It's just the household that you lived in. It's not the ups and the downs, either sleeping all day or barricading herself in the house. You know that it's like, this is different. None of my friends are dealing with this, but you don't think about it growing up, or at least I didn't. And so actually when she had her 5150 back in 2010, it was her third one. Her first 5150 did not happen until she was 50 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was, she had a lot of trauma growing up in her life, and that's her story to tell. And she and I have been through our ups and our downs. And the one thing that I am so honored and blessed to have in my mom is that she's been totally honest with me. And she's my hero in a lot of ways. She really overcame her own childhood and was in it deep when she was in her 50s and getting a 5153 separate times. And so And that specific one, she actually was on a 5152, which extended her stay
14
into
days.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which was great, actually. But she lost her job, because she had to stay in intensive for 2 weeks. Then she went into outpatient for about 3 weeks, and then her job then they don't understand, and still workplaces don't really have
Right.
policies around people leaving when they need intensive care for their mental health condition. And so it was interesting, though, because on that specific break, my stepdad, my sisters, my brother, nobody went to go and visit her. They kind of all turned their back a little bit because they didn't know how to deal with it. And so I was the daughter now caring for my mother.
Wow.
And where are you, if you don't mind, in your sibling lineup? Are you the baby?
I am the second oldest.
Okay.
And I have 2 younger sisters who are from my mom's second marriage. So they're a good amount younger than I am. And so at that time, they were like 10 and 11.
Right.
And I was, 22, 23. And so, that was my mom's first break, was when I was 22, 23.
Right.
This was when I was 28, 29, when she had that very first, or that third break where she went into the extensive therapy, and really helped her, honestly. She hasn't been 5150'd since then. She still had her ups and downs. We've still had to, unfortunately call law enforcement when we've been stuck at times. But grateful that because of my role in NAMI over the years, I've been able to talk with law enforcement, talk with my mom, and we've been able to work some things out. But, it's a very lonely process for family members. I remember sitting in a windowless room waiting for anybody to come and talk to me about what's going on with my mom, right? So I remember one of the social workers like peeking their head through and just saying, hey, I just want to make sure that you're still here, you don't need anything. And it's like, I just want to know what's going on with my mom.
Yeah.
And nothing. And it was at that moment that I really realized, if there was a NAMI, that's when they should have told me, right? They should have said to me, this is what's happening with your mom. I can't go into it because of whatever.
HIPAA. Yeah.
But guess what? There are resources available to you. Similar to when somebody's maybe diagnosed with breast cancer, they say, you know what? There are organizations out there of survivors, of people who have been through it, who can really kind of help you through the non-medical side of things.
Well, and I mean, that also speaks to another issue, and you kind of have been touching on it the entire time, and that is when you deal with mental health issues and problems, it's not something that there's a quick fix for, and there's something that you have to learn to make a life adjustment and manage it. Not that it's not manageable, but it has to be managed. And, to say that your mom, like many of those who deal with mental health issues, started dealing with it late in life, at least as you became aware of it, and then still has to manage that. That is something that we need to be, as a community, we all need to band together and help those who are dealing with these issues, to not feel stigmatized. That's our big thing, to sort of erase the stigma, so that in these situations, like you were saying, somebody should have pointed you to the great resource of NAMI. But now that's what we're here to do. So it might not have happened at that time, but if we can help it, it'll happen from here on out. Again, our guest is
Jessica Cruz.
An amazing woman. She's the CEO of NAMI California, and her name is Jessica Cruz, and we'll be right back. Here's that fun music, Marla. Is that a new dance? Nice. Well, what does the music actually mean, Marla?
It means poll time.
It's poll time. Last week, we asked the question, what percentage of adults in the U.S. experience a serious mental illness in any given year? Your options were A, 4%, B, 10%, or C, 16%. Now, usually we let our guests take a stab at it, but as the head of NAMI California, we know that you know this answer, Jessica.
How
So,
do you know she knows?
what? Are you challenging?
I'm challenging you. You can't
Okay.
assume anything. Jessica, 4%, 10%, or 16%? What percentage of adults in the United States experience serious mental illness in a given year?
Well, I don't know for certain this answer. I'm going to guess 4%.
And of course, we
You get to
appreciate
keep your job.
We appreciate your humility and the way that you actually phrase that. But you're absolutely correct.
Wait, ding, ding, ding. You just got a raise.
It's all depending on how you ask the question, too.
That's true,
right?
too.
Because, 1 in 4 people, or 1 in 5, depending on which statistic,
Right.
Yes.
experience a mental health
That's a good one.
condition. However, we sometimes will ask, because as a family organization, how many people are actually impacted by a mental health condition.
Look how smart she is.
There you go, making that distinction. We appreciate. So again, the new question for this week. What's the new poll question, Marla?
What percentage of teens between the ages of 13 and 18 years old experience anxiety disorders? Your options are A, 9.7%, B, 14.2%, or C, 25.1%.
And we want to remind you guys to please stop by the Mental Health GoFundMe page to support the show, because this is how we keep this content coming to you with great guests like Jessica Cruz.
Information that matters.
And information that matters and can help change lives. So wherever you see our social media, you can jump on there, and the poll question will be somewhere around there. And please vote, because we love to interact with you. Back to the show.
If you vote correctly, you too might get a raise or a job.
All right, so let's turn the conversation to more specifically about NAMI, and explain from your perspective why someone dealing with a mental health challenge the first place they should actually go to figure out how they plan to manage their situation. And management means a lot of things, whether that be team building, putting your team together, whether that be educational resources, whether that be emergency
Outreach,
resources and
support.
outreach. Absolutely, and support. Explain why, from your perspective, that should be somebody's first stop.
I wish that I had NAMI
Hmm.
when I needed it, and so grateful that you guys are doing this so that people won't ever have to go through what a lot of us have already been through. But NAMI brings kind of that expert out of our own experience, right?
Mm.
So doctors, they're smart, and they definitely know the treatment. There's a lot we don't know about behavioral health issues and how we treat them, but what we do know is that because NAMI, we are experts out of our own experience, we are bringing that knowledge to family members. So it can be either education through our family-to-family, peer-to-peer classes. It can be support through our support groups. But it could also just be that team that you're talking about that comes together around you. And I'll tell you, I have called upon my team of my NAMI mommy, who really kind of swept me up under her wing and helped me through, whether it's been with my mom, whether it's been with friends or other experiences, because as we heard about the poll, 1 in 4 people experience some sort of mental health issue in a year, and that could look different for so many different people.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to call my NAMI group for myself at times when I was having some severe anxiety, and it's just a place where you can get the support that you need the 99% of the time that we're not with our family in treatment, right? Because when somebody is living with a mental health condition, they're not in treatment 100% of the time.
Right.
They're in the community, they're with us.
Yeah.
And that's where NAMI comes in and really kind of sweeps people up to make sure that they know that they're not in this alone, that we're in it together. Like you keep saying, like, we are a community, and it takes a community to get through this. It's hard.
It does.
Very.
And I love the fact that you brought up that the NAMI leaders and the expertise that NAMI brings to bear to the field specifically also comes with a sense of empathy, because it's not just someone talking at you. This is someone who has experience and has dealt with the same things that you're dealing with, so they can automatically understand. And the little areas where sometimes it's so painful and the words just don't seem to suffice, someone you can tell, someone who's been in the same struggle can understand you, and sometimes words aren't even necessary. Just the fact that they're there and willing to support you is enough in that particular moment.
It is the one thing that I say all the time, that it's a club membership that I wish I had no members. I don't want to offer to anybody, period. Right. It could be a club of one. Unfortunately, it's a sentence feeling of loneliness. That's what you feel, so isolated. When we at one point when I went public, and I didn't even intend to say what I said when I went to talk about what my son was going through. And when the words came out that he was schizoaffective, I just remember, first of all, I couldn't stop crying, but then the lump, and I just felt like I was literally by my complete self, like this. How what? And then, so NAMI being this community, and I have to really reiterate this. I say my own slogan for NAMI is the first and last breath of mental illness. When I was at my last breath, NAMI gave me one more breath. It gave me a first breath, because I literally was like, oh, this is it. Like, I can't, as someone supporting and helping someone through mental illness, they breathe an opportunity of hope back.
So I have another question, and the question really is, how do you keep from sort of being hardened by the everyday struggles of dealing with not just a family member with mental illness, but the leadership that it takes to actually wield and focus such a large organization? Sometimes, just daily life stress could be overwhelming and almost kind of mute that empathy that we were talking about a minute ago. How do you keep from being hardened by those things?
That's a really good question. And, for a long time, I think I grew up with that kind of fight or flight mode. And so it was easy for me to be hardened, and to always be fighting. And when you have a loved one, you are always fighting, right? And at times with my mom, within my professional career, it's been really hard. And there was a time about a couple of years back that I just didn't really like who I was, that time of my anxiety, where it was just, I felt like I was constantly fighting. I was always negative, and I made a conscious effort to just switch and change. And I would rather lead with love than to be fighting all the time and be fearful all the time. And so it's been a challenge, and it's been something that I've had to work on, but my commitment is to lead through love and hope that changes, the world through mental illness. As you were saying, it's like, even if it's just one person that we're helping, and at the state level, we don't do necessarily the direct service. We do a lot of policy work and legislation, but from what I have learned and what I want to just do in my life is really lead in that way, because you can only get positive when you lead through love.
That's an amazing perspective, and we never have enough time. We got to take one more break, and when we come back, I have a super important question for you. We'll be right back.
Bad.
What are you doing?
Worthless.
Don't trust them. They'll hurt you. You're worthless.
It's pointless.
When the pain of schizophrenia meets hope, everything can change. Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
It's raw, real, and unfiltered.
My very important question that I've been holding back for this entire interview and this entire show is you probably have some of the best hair I've ever seen in my entire life. And I am a lady who likes to do different things with her hair. So
I love your hair.
if you ever decide to sell weave bundles, not that this has anything to do with mental health, but I'm just saying. Anyway.
Thank you. I was actually going to say to you, I love yours. Mine has been a little bit crazy for me today. It was just like frizzy. It's, up in Northern California.
Right.
When you...
I was looking, I was like, ooh, look at Jessica's hair. I said, she has awesome hair. Anyway, Jessica, we always like for our guests to leave with one word of inspiration. And we'd like to hear that from you now.
No pressure.
One word?
Well, not one word, but I mean one thought. One thought that you'd like to leave with all those who are watching.
It's something that I tell my kids. It's something when I used to coach, I used to say that it's no matter how hard you fall, it's how you get up that matters. And I think that is something for all of us to live by, right? We're going to fall, but it's how you get up. That's really what matters.
Well, the time here is never quick enough. I mean, it's never long enough. And we love having you. You're always welcome here on Mental Health Mondays.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all that you do for the mental health community in such an important position. We appreciate you. We appreciate NAMI. And we know that we're in good hands with you at the helm. Thank you so much. Our guest has been Jessica Cruz.
And if she decides to come to Southern California, we welcome her and her family. Just saying.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessica. We'll see you guys next week right here on Mental Health Mondays.
Absolutely.